You are now witnessing episode 16 on the Enders Corner podcast. We back at it again. Episode 16. It's your host, the legend Todd Finney himself. Y'all know what the slogan is, no bullshit boxing. Hey man, I got my guy Chris G with me again. Chris, what's good?
What's up, man?
What's up, man? How you feeling?
Feeling okay. I'm excited to get this boxing talk started.
For sure. And on the bottom, man, I got the guy Will Stokes in the building. Will, what's good?
Yes, sir. I'm all good. How are you?
I'm fine.
I'm. They call me the number one Caleb Plant fan. So
he's
just
good.
So everyone knows.
He's good.
Yeah, Will, man, we appreciate you coming on, man. You know, for the first time, man. Chop up this boxing talk for sure.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Yeah, so before we get started, I want to give a huge shout out to Marco from Texas for subscribing to the channel. Also, I meant to say this on the previous episode. I want to give a huge shout out to, Paulie Malignaggi and Zab Judah. They were both recently inducted into the New York Hall of Fame. So, I met both of those guys. So big congrats to them. And also, before we get started, I want to send my prayers and condolences out to our guy G5. He just recently lost his grandmother. So, G5, man, hang in there, man. Our prayers with you, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so man, let's go ahead and get into this talk, man. This past couple of weekends, man, we had a lot of good fights. We had Chris Eubank versus Beefy Smith. That was ended in a spectacular knockout, a spectacular stoppage. Also, we had Anthony Yarde versus Beterbiev. You could argue that was probably, a fight of the year, for 2023. And, this past weekend, we had Serrano versus Erica Cruz. That was a good fight. And then plus, we got a lot of boxing, to talk up. We got Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia. That's probably, and Jeopardy is probably not going to happen now. They're saying some issues with the rematch clause. We got Joe Joyce versus Big Bang Zhang, coming up. We got Gabe Risaldo versus Zerto. So we got a lot, to talk about. So let's just go ahead and get started. With Chris Eubank versus Beefy Smith. My thoughts on that fight. I felt that Chris Eubank. First, I like to say I was wrong in my prediction. I was going for Eubank by decision, so I was way off with my prediction. But as far as the fight,
me too.
Yeah, but as far as the fight, I just felt that Chris Eubank, I felt he was game in like the third round. He was constantly popping off with the jab. He was landing a lot of uppercuts. But I think in that last round when he got stopped, I think that, he just kind of got overconfident. And I think he was mimicking Roy Jones. And I think that was the downfall in that fight.
I'm on video saying that I would not be surprised if Beefy won. I was not shocked at all. I really wasn't. I thought I've always rated Beefy pretty high up there. And I'm happy he won. He deserved it. And I mean, I was a little surprised, but like I really wasn't. I don't know. I just I feel like he was always like top 10 in the middleweight division.
I was very surprised by the method. I thought that maybe I thought I was picking Eubank by decision, but I thought it'd be a close fight. It would not have shocked me if Liam Smith won a close decision, but I never ever thought that he would be able to stop Eubank.
Okay, I meant to say like I wouldn't be surprised if he won, but I was shocked by the method. I 100% agree with.
Especially early.
Yeah, that was early. That was early, man. That wasn't even 3.5 rounds, was it?
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, it ended in the fourth round. But yeah, going into that fight, I didn't really know too much about neither fighter. I just know that Beefy Smith, he had that knockout loss to Canelo, but he was game. He was game in that fight. Nice stoppage. The way Eubank was chasing after him. After he got stopped, he still wanted to fight, man. So that was funny, man. So what do you think? Both guys go from here.
You want to go first, Will, or you want me to go?
You can go.
Okay, so I think Chris Eubanks can he's only lost once. I think he can come back from that. He didn't take a huge amount of punishments. He just got
That's
hit
his
with.
third loss.
Is that? Oh, I'm my bad. I'm sorry. I mean,
He
his first
lost
stoppage
to
loss. I meant to say stoppage loss. I'm sorry. He lost to George Groves and he lost to what's his face? That's the only loss he had. No, George Groves.
George Groves and Billy Joe Saunders as well.
And Billy Joe Saunders. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Oh, my bad. I meant to say first loss as in stoppage loss.
Yeah.
And he didn't take it like a serious like 12-round beating or something like that. So I think he can still come back from that. And then I think Liam Smith should I think he deserves to I don't know if a title shot or another step up and fight or a step up in and maybe in the top 5 or he could or maybe for a title shot. I wouldn't be mad if he got a title shot. That if he got an opportunity, I wouldn't be mad at that. Maybe he could fight for the vacant IBF that Triple G just vacated.
Oh yeah, against Falcao.
Yeah, I think he should get that. I think he should get that opportunity.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad. In my opinion, I think that for Liam Smith, the rematch is not really ideal. Aside from the fact that it would be a massive payday, I think for Liam Smith, the best thing to do would be to go out and use this as a springboard to try and get a title shot. I think probably the best fight that the best fight that I would want to see is probably Liam Smith versus Janabek. I think that'd be a really good fight. But it won't happen, obviously. So maybe Liam Smith versus Triple G. Maybe Triple G would be interested in doing that. I don't know. But realistically, it's obviously going to be the rematch next, which for Chris Eubank, I think is the best idea. Because if he doesn't do that, I don't really know where else he could go because his reputation is so tarnished right now. But it's risky though, because if he loses that rematch, I mean, I don't really know where he could go from there.
Yeah, he would lose his momentum.
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, if Eubank lost the rematch, I think that probably time to retire at that point.
I can't believe Liam Smith lost to Jaime Munguia.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that is kind of not ideal. That's for sure.
Yeah, but well, to follow up on that, as far as Triple G, I'm hearing that it's ordered that him and Law to fight, and we'll get into that later.
So. Oh yeah, you're right. I heard that. Yeah, that's such a dead fight.
Yeah, both are like 87,000 years old.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like that.
Ooh, Mr. Conrad.
Yeah, Conrad Boston in the building. Who shout out to Conrad says evening, Conrad.
I wish he would get on too, but it's okay.
Yeah, so let's get into this. Anthony Yard versus Beterbiev fight. For me, that was, like I said, man, that was like a fight that could be a fight of the year contender. I know it's still early for 2023, but yeah, that you can argue that could be like fight of the year. And again, I was wrong in my prediction. I was going for Beterbiev to win by at least a 5th round first degree murder. That's what I predicted in that fight, man. I was going for Beterbiev by first degree murder, but both guys were game. Anthony Yard, man, he threw a lot of uppercuts in that fight. He missed a lot of uppercuts. He landed a lot of uppercuts, but hats off to him. Even though he got another loss. I think his stock definitely went up, and it was definitely a war. Both guys were cut. Beterbiev was cut above his eye, and Yard was cut under his eye. So you could tell both guys went to war. So what's your thoughts on that?
Sorry. You want to go ahead?
Yeah, no, you can go. You can go, Chris, if you want.
Okay. Thank you. So I think Yard did so much better than I thought. But here's the thing: I knew Yard had the power to win. Like if he had caught, and I've seen, Beterbiev has been hurt a few times in his career. Has been dropped by Colin Johnson and stuff. But and I knew Yard had the power to do something like that, but I didn't think he was going to box as well as he did. He had a really good jab, and he looked like he was in the fight the entire time. Like even though he's not known for the best gas tank, and he was still hurting Beterbiev towards the second half of that fight, and still throwing a bunch of punches. So I was really pleased with seeing that fight, and I got really scared when Beterbiev started getting hurt, dude. But he would answer even when he was hurt. But you can tell he was like shaken bad by Yard's punches, and I mean I guess that's what made it a great fight, because both would get shaken once in throughout the fight. And yeah, that's my thoughts. I think Yard did a fantastic job. His stock definitely went up, and I look forward to him getting another opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's definitely clear that his stock went up. I think that was the best performance of Yord's career. He did way better against Beterbiev than he did against an old Kovalev. So I think that shows a lot of improvement. Yeah, I thought when the fight started that he looked quite nervous, Yord. He looked quite like kind of like really kind of jittery. But I could tell he had a good game plan. They're going for the check hooks and stuff, and kind of trying to walk Beterbiev on. I think that it was clear. Yeah, it was clearly a good game plan from him and Tunde Ajayi. And yeah, I just think it's crazy when you think about where Yord actually came from. A guy that started boxing when he was like 20 years old and had 12 amateur fights, to be this good at this stage, I think is crazy. And I think he gets so much like criticism, which just is so undeserved. So I was really happy for him that he finally, I think, has earned some respect from people now.
Wasn't he like 11-1 with 11 knockouts in the amateurs?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, it's crazy. Like, to be as good as he is, I think, and I think that Tunde Ajayi deserves so much respect as well. Like, he gets so much criticism, like for the lions in the camp stuff. Everyone makes fun of them, but I think like any system that can turn a raw novice into someone who can, like, because that's his second world title shot, and it's the second time that he's come close to winning it. So I think that any trainer that can turn a raw novice into someone that good deserves a lot of respect, like regardless of if it's kind of cringy, some of the stuff that they do, it obviously works. So
I agree.
Yeah. So what do y'all think is gonna happen with Beterbiev? Do you think he's gonna try to get the Bivol fight, or do you think he's gonna try to take her like a softer touch? Do you think he just might remain out the ring for the remainder of the year?
Well, no, we already know what's gonna have to happen. It's Callum Smith. That's what's next. Apparently
for a fight, Callum Smith in March.
Yeah, well, he's got like a stay busy fight against some random guy.
He's had 3 fights once every 2 years, dude. I don't know what's up with that.
Well, no, I mean he had his first light heavyweight fight, and then in the last fight he earned the mandatory shot, and then now he's got some dead fight. I don't know why he has this, but after this, yeah, he's next. So that, unfortunately, I mean, it's a good fight, but obviously we want to see the Bivol fight. But I don't think it'll be able to happen because Eddie Hearn said that the mandatory shot for Callum Smith is next. So I guess Bivol will have. Well, I guess Bivol's probably fighting Canelo anyway. So I don't know if it would work anyway, even if Beterbiev didn't have any fight going on. But yeah, so I don't think we'll be able to see Bivol Beterbiev until next year at the earliest.
I agree on that. And I think after seeing that fight, dude, I feel like before I had thought Bivol wouldn't win the fight. Now I think Bivol would be the favorite against Beterbiev at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely you could say that Beterbiev was probably showing signs of slowing down in that fight against Yord. He got hit an awful lot, and that's the thing as well. That fight right there probably would have taken quite a lot out of him. And Bivol is, meanwhile, is kind of on the best form of his career and looking really fresh. So, yeah, I don't know, but it's a hard fight to call, obviously, because nobody's ever gone the distance with Beterbiev. So how do we even know if that's really, possible? I guess.
Well,
I mean,
well,
there was one fight that went to the 12th round, right?
yeah, that's what I say that.
Yeah, so that's true, I guess. But I don't know. Bivol's out here getting rocked by Joe Smith. I feel like that's not a great sign.
Did he actually get rocked by Joe Smith?
Yeah, he did.
What round was it? Round 1 or round 2?
No, I'm talking about Bivol.
Oh, Biv. Oh. I think he's talking about Beterbiev or Beterbiev.
No. Yeah, when Bivol fought Joe Smith.
He did get rocked at one point. I want to say that punch was a little bit after the bell, though, like low key.
I don't know. I remember. I'm pretty sure he got rocked a couple times. I don't know if Ty, are you able to pull up?
Yeah, and Will, to follow up on that, man, I agree with you. What you were saying about Beterbiev. He's like 36 or 37, so I think he is starting to slow down. So if I was
38.
him,
yeah, 38.
Yeah, so if I was him, man, I would try to, at this point, even though he's just been in the war with Yard, I would try to, get as many fights as I possibly can.
I agree. He can't pull a Triple G fighting once every 3 years at 39 years old, 40 years old.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, but I don't know. It's tough because Callum Smith is no easy touch. That would actually be a really hard fight, I think.
I think so too. I agree on that because all right, so what was it? I watched the fight live actually. I mean, not in person, but like on TV when Bivol fought Lennon Castillo, and he fought scared. Like Bivol I'm not gonna say scared, but like he was very not willing to open up against him at all. And then what's his name? Callum Smith sent that guy to the shadow.
That I know, that was brutal. Callum Smith he's looked like a beast at light heavyweight.
I agree. I've been a fan of the Smith brothers for a while. I do like what he brings to 175.
Yeah, for sure. So that's going to be a really hard fight, I think, for Beterbiev because, Callum Smith, he'll be the biggest guy Beterbiev's ever fought. He's like 6'3" or whatever he is.
78.
Yeah, I mean, and he's got, he clearly has power at light heavyweight. Like, I don't know if you guys remember his second fight at light heavyweight. It was on the Joshua undercard.
I remember
he destroyed that guy.
Yeah, he was like the French guy was like on he was doing the stanky leg. I remember that.
Yeah, and that guy was an Olympic medalist as well.
He was.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think that could be actually a really risky fight for Beterbiev.
I agree. I would not be. Would any of you guys be surprised if Beterbiev lost that fight against Smith? I know I would.
I mean, I would be surprised, but I wouldn't be shocked. I feel like there's a difference between those, Like,
okay.
I do think Beterbiev will win, but I don't know. The thing is, it's just another fight where I think he'll win, but I think it's not going to be easy. Like, it's the same thing with the Yard fight. I thought he would win, but I didn't think it would be easy like everybody else thought. I think he'll take a lot of damage in the Callum Smith fight, which is not ideal because you want to see him fight Bivol when they're both as close as possible to their best, and I feel like the Yard fight's going to have taken even more out of him, and then the Callum Smith fight's going to take even more out of him. Yeah,
and then he'll be close to 40 by the time the Bivol fight happens.
Yeah, so it's not ideal.
Yeah, and far as Anthony Yard, I know he got another loss, but one thing I can say about him is that he trains very hard. I've seen a lot of videos where he trains. He's a workhorse. He trains real hard. But what do you guys think he goes from here?
I think I mean I've always liked Yard. I think he has so much talent. Like I said, I think to be as good as he is with as little experience as he has, I think it just shows so much raw potential. But he's one of the most mismanaged boxers that I could think of right now. Like his career has been such aside from he's obviously he had this fight and he had the Kovalev fight. And then I guess you could count the Lyndon Arthur fight as well. But aside from that, like it's just a bunch of bums that he's beaten. So I think that now he needs to. This is kind of the last. I'm pretty sure Yard is like 32 or something. So this is probably the last try at really trying to become world champion now. Like this is the last roll of the dice. So I think they need to actually do it properly this time and not just have him fight a bunch of bums. And they need to go and actually have him fight some other top guys to actually get him ready for the next time he fights for a world title. So I would probably like to, I would love to see him fight Joe Smith, for example. I think that would be a really good fight. And I think that's a fight I would actually expect Yard to win, by the way, as well. So
I agree on that. And do you remember after he lost the Kovalev fight, he fought some dude he was like 2 and like 85 losses or something?
Yeah. Yes, I do. I watched that and it looked like it was recorded.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with y'all on that. They Joe Smith and y'all both lost to Vittori by knockout and stoppage. So I think them two, coming off these losses, that they could fight each other, and that would be a good scrap for sure. Yeah, so let's get into this Serrano versus Erica Cruz fight. Me personally, I felt Cruz she was robbed. A lot of people may not agree with me, but I felt she was robbed. But her style was just so odd. You know what I mean? Her style was so odd. But I think it could have been politics involved, just so Serrano and Katie Taylor can get that rematch. But Chris, let's start off with you. What's your thoughts on that?
What's his name? Another boxing channel thought she was robbed too. You're not the only one. What's his name? The one with like 50. He's like 50. True School Sports TV. Mm-hmm. He thought Erica Cruz was robbed, and thinking back at it, I had it barely up for Serrano or like somewhat Serrano. So I'm not mad at anyone who thought Erica Cruz won, and just of the sheer volume, you can argue maybe Erica Cruz won that fight. And if it wasn't for the gap, like she was easily winning. Like Serrano looked really uncomfortable until the gash happened, and that's when she started picking it up. But whenever if the head clash didn't happen, I think she probably would have clearly lost that fight.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I don't know. I think that fight was it was a good fight, but at the same time, it was a terrible fight. I mean, I watched that fight with my brother, who's kind of like a casual, and he was sat there, and as it started, and Erica Cruz started doing her thing, and he said to me, he's like, "This is what everybody thinks women's boxing is." So, I mean, it definitely. I mean, let's be honest, the quality of it was very low, but it was just I mean, there were a lot of punches thrown. It was very back and forth. I didn't score it, but I don't know. I do think Erica Cruz had a lot of success. So yeah, I mean, I don't think it's out of the realms of possibility that she did enough to win.
I think I think at first they were like the commentators were saying, I was like, there's something off about her form. I'm like, oh, she's bending at the waist instead of her knees.
Yeah, I mean, oh gosh, there was a lot wrong with her form.
And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, I guess it kind of works, I guess, because I think she only had one loss prior to that, or no losses. I can't remember.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of how it looked, it clearly was effective. That's one thing. I mean, she was making it very hard for Serrano to time her. So I guess if it works, then fair enough.
Like Serrano was getting hit cleanly. Like she wasn't even rolling with the punches. Like her jaw like jacked to the side. I'm like, what's going on over here? She's getting hit with like clean punches.
Yeah. I mean, I don't. I mean, Erica Cruz, I guess when you look at male boxing, I guess it is kind of like a Mexican type of, like you see a lot of those Mexican guys like Navarrete and Mauricio Lara. They have that kind of really awkward technique and stuff as well. I mean, it's not exactly like what Erica Cruz is doing, but I guess maybe that is kind of similar to that. So, yeah, it might not look the best, but it clearly is effective.
Offense first, defense later.
Yeah, yeah, and her gas tank to go at that pace for 10 rounds is unreal.
Yeah, that was good. That was she was throwing like haymaker after haymaker after haymaker.
I know,
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, so women's boxing, they definitely putting boxing on the map, and so I think that cut on Cruz head, kind of, change the pace of the fight because I think Serrano definitely tried to take advantage of that because Cruz, that it was just so much blood on, so much blood on her face, but like as Chris was saying, if that cut didn't happen, I think Cruz could have probably got a clear victory. But like me, I just think politics was involved in that because everybody wants to see Serrano and the Katie Taylor rematch.
Actually, I'm actually looking forward to that. I really liked the first fight. But man, when Katie Taylor got hurt, that made me really sad.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that was such a good fight, though. It really annoys me how many of these like boxing channels ignore that fight and just because it's women's, like, that was a way better fight than the majority of men's fights. So, and the thing with that fight, the technique was actually high level as well. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to the second one for sure.
Yeah, so I didn't see the first fight, so that I missed a great fight. Everybody said that was an awesome fight between them two. So I definitely had to go back and catch that. But I definitely am going to catch the rematch. So yeah, so let's get into this Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia. The fight it's in Jeopardy. To me it looks like we're getting a Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford situation all over again. First they were saying, last year that this fight was a done deal. And now Tank gets past Hector Garcia, Oscar De La Hoya said he was waiting on the contract from, Tank's team. Now he gets the contract. And now we got another issue with the rematch clause. So give me y'all's thoughts on that. Chris, we'll start with you. Do you think this fight is going to happen?
Okay, I don't. I don't want to say yes or no, but I'm starting to lean that it might not happen because they said it was supposed to be in the middle of April, and we're already in March. So it's likely if it's going to happen, it's not going to happen as soon as we had hoped for. But the situation with the rematch clause is that they put it's a one-sided rematch clause. If Tank loses, rematch happens. If Ryan loses, no rematch. But I think they were okay with Ryan's team was okay with that. They were just not okay if the rematch does happen. They want it to be hosted by Golden Boy and not PBC. And so PBC is going to host the fight the first time around. But if Ryan wins, there's a rematch clause, and they want the argument is Golden Boy wants to host it, but PBC says no matter who wins or loses or whatever, we want to host it the second time, and that's what they're fighting about.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll just say, by the way, guys, I do have to go in a minute, unfortunately. But just on this, I will say, I think Ryan Garcia deserves a lot of credit because everyone, makes fun of him, says he's the TikTok
Diva
guy and whatever. Yeah, but I actually think he deserves a lot of credit because, based on this, it actually looks like they're the ones that have given in to most of the demands. So, I think that is that's interesting to kind of see that come out. I think that was probably a surprise to a lot of people. It seems like Gervonta Davis is actually the one who's kind of making this more difficult. I think it will happen. I think that I don't know. I mean, I was gonna say I think we've come too far for it not to happen, but I guess we came really close with Spence Crawford as well. But I don't know. Something about this one just tells me that they will figure it out. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's maybe they just drop the rematch clause and just don't have any rematch clause. That could be the way they resolve it. I don't know, but either way, it better happen, and I think it probably will.
I got Ryan winning that fight, by the way, guys.
No
Oh
way,
yeah.
you actually.
No, okay, fine. I know he's the underdog. He's an underdog for a reason, but I think he has the reach advantage. He has all the advantages, but obviously not the boxing IQ like Tank does. But I think Ryan is better than everyone Tank has ever fought. So, and has more power than everyone he's ever fought. So, and then just I guess based on his recent fights where he's losing most of the rounds until the stoppage. Like he lost most of the rounds against Rolly. He lost most of the rounds against what's his name, the tall Mexican guy, the Mario Barrios.
Oreos.
Oh yeah.
And he was losing rounds again, and then he lost. For me, I had him barely beating Isaac Cruz. I had it 7-5 for Tank.
I had it 7-5 as well. Yeah, and he lost a lot of the rounds against Hector Garcia as well.
He really did too. Yeah, that one too. So I'm just like, and Ryan's better than all of them.
I mean, but I don't know. If you're getting iced by Luke Campbell almost, that's not a great sign, is it? I like Luke Campbell, but that's not a great sign.
Dude, I love Luke Campbell, dude. He gave Lomachenko a good fight too.
He did, but I don't know. He doesn't punch like that, does he? So I think that's not a great sign.
16 knockouts and 20 wins. I think that's decent power, no?
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that is decent. I don't know. And to be fair to Ryan Garcia, he did show really good powers of recovery in that. Like the way he went down, the way his arm folded behind him, but then he got straight back up and his legs looked fine straight after. So yeah, I mean, it will be interesting, but I do think Gervonta Davis will win. I'd probably say Davis will win by like 9th round stoppage or something is probably what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and the follow up with you guys, like it seems like PBC, they always trying to, get the A side, they always trying to get an advantage. So that's, to me, it just seems like, PBC, like they're the holdup.
They're gonna drag it out on purpose so he keeps getting more rusty. That's literally all it is.
Yeah, and I was reading that Prograde said, if this fight doesn't happen, he's willing to step in. But I didn't hear, like, who is he willing to step in and fight? Is it Tank or is it Ryan Garcia?
Both, because they both fought at 140 before. So I think Regis Prograde beats both of those guys.
Yeah, I mean that will never happen, obviously, will it? Because he doesn't have any, star power or anything really. But I think he would beat both. Especially, I mean, he would beat both. You're right. So that will never happen. But it would be interesting to see. But it won't happen, will it?
No. Regis Prograde made a good account of himself against Josh Taylor. Man, that was good.
Yeah, he did. For sure.
Yeah. Let me get into these comments.
Hey, listen, guys. I'm sorry. I just have to say I'm gonna have to jump off now.
Okay. You're good, man. You're good. Just change that picture next time.
All right. Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, thanks very much for having me on. And I'm sorry I have to get off so soon, but I appreciate it. And have a good stream.
All right, man. You have a good one. All right. Thanks.
All right, man.
Take care, guys.
All right, man.
Bye.
Appreciate it. Bye. Says my cousin Will Sanson in the building. Who shout out to my cousin Will? He says Ryan is winning for real, and I'm surprised. I'm surprised to hear him say that. Because we from Maryland. So I got to ride with Tank all day. All day. I got to ride with Tank. But yeah, so let's just say this fight doesn't happen, and let's just say that Ryan Garcia ends up fighting Progrades. So if Ryan Garcia went in that direction, what are some options for Tank? Like me, I'm looking at maybe Frank Martin or possibly Gary Russell, but we know that Gary Russell, he's coming off a loss, so I don't know if that's the fight that Tank would want to take. But at the same time, Gary Russell, he's did a lot of trash talking to Tank in the past. He was at the Hector Garcia fight live. He went on IG live and he was talking a lot of trash. He said he's seen a lot of holes in Tank's game. So if Ryan Garcia doesn't happen, what do you think are some options for Tank?
I think Tank could probably Frank Martin's would be a good fight. That's a risky fight, but if Tank was to win that fight, that's a good resume. I mean, that's good for his resume. and him fighting. I would say Isaac Cruz for the second time would be a good fight too. I think. What was the other fight that you just said?
I said Frank Martin and Gary Russell.
Oh, dude, I think Gary Russell. I think that would be a good warm up for Tank. I think that would be a nice stay busy fight for Tank. I think if Gary Russell comes back, he's gonna fight once, and then we're never gonna see him again for another year or two. And then if he fights Tank, he's probably losing that fight because of the size advantage. He doesn't even have power at his own weight class, so it's like I don't know. I don't see how he could beat Tank.
Yeah. And I think Frank Martin, he is a good fighter, but at this point in his career, I just feel that it's too early for him. But Tank is running out of options, man. He needs some names. So those are just two names that I threw out there that could be possible. But I like what you said about the Cruz rematch. Tank did hurt his hand in that fight. So I think a fresh Tank, a healthy Tank can definitely possibly get a like a late stoppage.
That's possible. I'd say so. He visibly hurt Cruz a couple times in that fight.
Yeah, so let's get into this Caleb Plant and David Benavidez, this press conference, man. I watched this press conference, man. I was very, very unhappy, with the stuff that David Benavidez doing, his dad was doing too, man. So like that was just it was just, to me, it was unprofessional. But I understand, this is the boxing game, man. Guys are gonna talk trash. There's a lot of animosity between them two, but still at the same time, I just didn't like, what David Benavidez and his father was doing.
Okay, I want to get this out of the way. I'm gonna ride with Benavidez no matter what, right? Yeah, all right. But I would say I'd probably have preferred if he did go that far. But I mean, yeah, a little bit of trash talk because Caleb Plant, it seems from my research, it seems like he might have started the beef with them. I know. Well, I know in the past he sucker punched his older brother, and just them being in the same weight class, not liking each other and stuff like that. So, I'm not really mad at Benavidez for doing that. I'd I'd rather him not have done it the way they went about it. But I mean, you're right. It is the boxing game, but I'm not mad at all. I still fully support. I fully support him. And I hope he gets the win.
Yeah, so David Benavidez, he came out with a tweet and he said, a lot of people are mad with him, because he's talking trash back. Plant's the one that started this whole thing. So tell us more about this beef that happened with them, in the gym. How did it all start again?
So before that, they actually used to talk nice to each other, and they used to dab up and stuff and talk and then I think I think what happened from what I found was, I think Benavidez' team thought Caleb Plant was talking crap. I can't confirm. I'm gonna be completely unbiased about this, so I can't confirm that if it's true that he was doing that. But according to the Benavidez team, he was talking crap about them across the gym, so they went over there to confront him about it. And then when Jose Benavidez Jr. and Caleb Plant were going at each other, yelling at each other, Caleb Plant suddenly just punched him in the face. And then they all started fighting each other. They all started getting at it. The crowd got together and stuff. And then I think two of Team Benavidez guys beat up Caleb Plant's trainer during all that. And after that, it's been bad blood ever since then. Ever since that.
Yeah, so this beef actually started, from a long time ago, but both guys will be, in the ring next month, and they get to settle it.
Yep.
So, yeah, so I'm happy, that they're gonna settle it, but like I said before, man, I got David Benavidez, winning this fight by stoppage.
So do I. But what is on video on their beef is that, as far as proof goes, Jose Benavidez, the older brother of David Benavidez, and Caleb Plant were yelling at each other, and Caleb Plant did swing first and land a punch on Jose Benavidez, and then shortly later the video cuts off. So that's as far as 100% confirmed of that they were yelling at each other, and then Caleb Plant smacked him or punched him. It's kind of hard to tell in the video.
Yeah. And
But
so
I was gonna say that I got Benavidez probably. I know this is a big range, but I have him between. I wouldn't be surprised if he got him out of there midway or late, but not lately. I think he stops him sooner than Canelo, but not earlier than round 6.
yeah, and so do you think that Benavides has an advantage, since Breadman is Caleb Plant's trainer, and David Benavides already fought Kyron Davis, and his corner stopped that fight, because Kyron was taking a beating. So do you think that going into this fight that David Benavides could have an advantage, since that Caleb Plant has Breadman, but Breadman changed a lot in Caleb Plant's game, because we saw the nice KO that he had over Anthony Durrell.
So I think Breadman gave a lot more. He definitely improved Plant a lot. I will say that. I don't know if fighting Kyron Davis gave him an advantage, because Kyron Davis is quite a bit smaller. No, I'm not gonna say quite a bit smaller, but maybe he has like 1 inch shorter than Plant, and also like maybe 2 inches shorter than Plant, and then like 2 or 3 inches less reach. Um, but the advantages that Benavidez does have, he is 2 inches taller and has 2 inches more reach than Plant. So I think he's gonna use the jab and stuff, and try to close the gap onto Caleb Plant. But I don't think beating Kyron Davis gives him a straight up advantage. I guess maybe some of the tactics they try to pull off, but Kyron Davis did take that fight on a few weeks' notice, because Uzcategui tested positive for some drug. I forgot what it was, whatever illegal PED, but and that's why Kyron Davis had to fight. Took the fight last minute. They did say they went in with a plan to try to win. They didn't come just to lay down. And to be honest, he did show that he did actually come back with a few good shots. And I forgot, I think round 4, he actually landed quite a few shots on Benavidez. So I guess maybe slightly fighting a Breadman fighter gave him some knowledge of it. I don't know if it's going to give him a straight up advantage, but I think it gave him maybe a possible some ideas of what they teach in that camp.
Yeah. And to follow up on that, to me that was a bad move, on Kyron Davis' part. But fighters there to be great, but David Benavidez is not he's not a fighter that I would try to fight, on short week's notice, man. He's too, like I said, man, he's fast, he walks you down, he's got the bully style. So he's definitely a fighter that I would want, a full 6-month training camp, to take a fight against for sure.
I think they offered him a nice bag for that fight, so it was hard for him to turn it down.
Yeah, facts. A lot of fighters, they want the nice paydays. So it's hard. It's hard to turn down a decent bag.
If they offered him the same purse as Uzcategui, it was mid 6 figures that he got.
Yeah. Because I also I mentioned before that I had an opportunity to see Kyron Davis fight, and like this was at a local small card, but the fight got called off. I'm not sure what happened. Like I don't know if his opponent pulled out the fight or whatnot. But like I said, this was at a small venue, so to see Kyron Davis fight Anthony Durrell, then fight David Benavidez, he's definitely stepped up in competition. So I'm sure he got some nice paydays for those fights for sure. Yeah.
Some people thought he beat Anthony Durrell, and Jeff being one of them, he thought Kyron Davis beat Durrell.
Yeah, and to follow up on that, I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of Durrell. I've said it a lot of times. I'm a huge fan of Durrell. I met him. He's a former, 2-time champion. He beat cancer. So, I'm a big fan of Anthony Durrell. But I just feel that, when he fights, the top competition, that he just never performs. There's always, and Anthony Durrell, man, there's always controversy in his fights, man. It's always, whether it's a cut. It's always controversy in his fights, man.
Yeah, and his press conferences too.
Yeah. He did a lot of trash talking. You know, at that Katie Plant press conference. You know, at the end of the day, man, he got knocked out. So yeah, let me get into this comment. So we got Gabriel Ruiz in the building. Who shout out to Gabriel Ruiz? He says, Tank by TKO. If he stays busy, Ryan won't handle his power. I agree.
I I I I respect that opinion, but I kind of slightly disagree.
What? And what's your reason?
Because I think Ryan has more reach and more power. That's what. I mean, maybe not more power actually, but he has more reach, and I think he has more. Will have more opportunity to use that power.
Yeah. So you're not concerned for Davis Chin in this fight? I mean, yeah. Ryan Garcia's chin. You're not concerned for his chin in this fight?
Well, here's the thing. Even if Ryan Garcia didn't get knocked down by Luke Campbell, I feel like Tank's power would destroy even the best chins. So I kind of like negate the chin thing because both guys have power. If both land clean, I think either guy would go down.
Yeah. We haven't seen, Tank, we haven't seen him touch the canvas yet. So
I don't think we've ever even seen him buzz, to be honest with you, actually, to be fair.
Yeah, so Tank, like I said, Tank is he's a very time fighter. He can time you very well. So, but like as you mentioned, Ryan Garcia does have long reach. He is fast. So like it's a fight that I hope happens, man. But I just hope we don't get another Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford situation, man. So with this rematch clause issue, man, I think they need to settle it so the fans can have a blockbuster fight for this year, man.
I agree. I 100% agree. And I mean, even though I still favor Tank to win, I'm just going for my guy Ryan.
Gotcha. Yeah. So let's get into this. Zero Ramirez versus Gabe Rosado. When this got announced, I was honestly shocked. I think this is a huge step down. We know that Zero lost to Bivol, who's an awesome fighter, but it was only one loss, and the Zero, he has a lot of wins, like 40 something wins with 30 something knockouts. So to take on the Gabe Rosado, that's a huge step down. But Gabe Rosado, man, he stays getting the big names. He stays getting, the big paydays. But why do you think that, Zerto is choosing Gabe Rosado?
I would say because there's a Gabe Rosado has a big following. He's got a lot of people who support him, win, lose, or draw, and he brings eyes to the TV. And so I think in terms of skill, this might be a sort of like 2-3 steps down. But Gabe Rosado always comes to fight. He doesn't ever come to lay down. And so I think it's going to be an okay fight. But if Zerto is that standard, put the pressure on, don't be scared of Bivol Zerto, then I mean, don't be scared. If he's not scared like he was scared of Bivol, then I would say he wins the fight by mid-round stoppage, maybe late stoppage. But that same Zerto that fought Bivol, then it's gonna go the distance, and he's gonna look bad again.
Yeah, and I had like everybody had Zerto winning like two rounds against Bivol. Like that was I don't know what the deal was in that fight. I don't know why he had that kind of performance. I think maybe it was just because Bivol was that good of a fighter.
So I don't know what that was, bro. The only reason why he even won 2 rounds was because Bivol decided to turn down the gas, dude. That was the only reason. And the thing is, I don't think Zerto sat down on one single punch in that fight. Every punch was from the elbows, dude. He didn't put any steam on any of those punches, and that was like such a disappointing. Even if Zerto came to fight and stuff like that, I still think he would have lost. But I don't think he would have. I think he would have won 3 rounds legitimately, not 2 rounds because Bivol wanted to just take a break.
Right. Yeah, and
I think Canelo did better than Ramirez, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, Canelo did way better. I don't know what Ramirez was doing in that fight, man. But far as him and Gabe Rosado, I can say that even though that Rosado is a journeyman, we can't count Journeyman out. You know, it wasn't that long ago that Gabe Rosado had a nice knockout over a guy. You know, he was real excited. You know, running across the ring. I don't know what fight that was, but I
I
think
tell
it
you,
was like yeah,
oh,
about 3 fights ago though, right?
yeah,
Or
yeah,
something
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, he would actually Gabe Rosado went down by a body shot, and like I forgot in round 1 or round 2, I can't remember. And then he ended up getting a knockout in round 3. It seems like it was Beck the Bully. Remember?
Mm.
It
Yeah,
was Bektamir Melakuziev. I think that's how you say his name. I could be wrong, but he's made a good comeback. You know, he didn't let that one loss, let himself, like give up. He came back shortly after, and he's got a good string of wins. And I look forward for him to uh, maybe getting a rematch with Rosado, or maybe just stepping up in competition, getting bigger fights again.
yeah. And the follow up on that, you know, far as guys who are like, you know, considered journeymen, like I said, we can't count them out because I've been at fights where journeyman knocked out an undefeated fighter, and the undefeated fighter hasn't fought since. And I seen this journeyman knock a undefeated fighter out cold.
And
So
that
we
was
can't.
like years ago. No, that wasn't that like year. That was the guy never fought ever again.
No, he's never fought again. And he was knocked out cold. So you can't, like I said, man, you can't count journeyman out. And you know, of course, you know, I had the interview with Darnell Boone. You know, I learned so much from him in that interview. And he has a lot of losses on his record, but you know, he was the first fighter, you know, to knock out Adonis Stevenson, and he took that fight, you know, on short week notice. So we definitely can't count these guys out. And you know, we also seen Derek Chisora, you know, just fight, Tyson Fury. You know, even though Tyson Fury's already beat him twice before, you know, it was still good, you know, to see a journeyman, you know, fight on the big stage, you know, get a nice payday.
I agree.
Yeah, and plus, you know, Gabe Rosado, you know, a lot of people felt that he beat Danny Jacobs.
I was one of those people. I thought it could have been a draw, or
Mm-hmm.
Gabe Rosado should have won that fight. If Gabe Rosado simply put more, stepped on the gas a little more, he would have decisively won that fight. And it seems like after the Canelo fight, it seems like Danny Jacobs isn't hungry anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, you know, losing to Triple G and losing to Canelo, I think, yeah, he just doesn't have that hunger in him. I do feel that he was robbed, you know, of the win against, you know, Triple G, and I think that could have kind of affected him in a sense. But I am hearing that it's possible that he could be in talks with Jaime Munguia, but I'm not sure if that's true or not.
I haven't actually sorry, I haven't personally heard that he's gonna fight him, but I think that's a decent fight.
Mhm.
I fully expect Munguia to win that fight, though.
Yeah, I feel that Munguia should win because you know Munguia's been busy and Danny seemed like Danny Jacobs has been on the shelf. If I'm not mistaken, he's been on the shelf.
I feel like he could get more fights, but he's just happy with. And he's in silk sheets, as Jeff says.
Yeah, yeah. We definitely got to see Danny Jacobs get back in there. But yeah, like as you're saying, man, I just don't think he has that hunger. Yeah, so let's get into Joe Joyce versus Big Bang Zhang. I'm excited. I'm excited for this fight. I didn't see Zhang's fight against Herkovich, but you know, a lot of people felt that Zhang won. But he just said like in the last round, he just didn't have nothing left in the gas tank. So going in this fight, I'm going for Joe Joyce. Both guys are older. I believe Zhang is like 40 years old, but I think that Joe Joyce, even though they're like the same height, I just feel that Joe Joyce, he's the juggernaut. He's the juggernaut, and he just he's getting all these knockouts and all these stoppages in his fights. So I just think that being how big he is and like the way he comes forward, I just think that he's definitely going to wear out Zhang and can possibly get, I would say, maybe like a mid to like 8th round stoppage in this fight.
So what I think is, I'm gonna say don't be surprised if Zhang wins, and I'll tell you why. Because I think Joe Joyce fights in slow motion.
Right.
Like if you put his fights in times two, it looks like he's fighting normal, right? Times two speed. and and Zhang has really good timing. So I think if Zhang is gonna win, he's gonna win early. like mid, nothing more than the 6th round, because it seems like he loses. He's visibly gassed out. Uh, Starting at round 7. That's what I noticed in the Hergovich fight. He was definitely gassed out round 7 and up. I mean, I think he might have snagged 1 or 2 rounds in the last half, but I mean, not, or maybe a few more. But I actually thought Zhang that won that fight barely, but I thought he won the fight against Hergovich.
Yeah, and it seemed most people, felt that he won that fight. And to follow up on what you were saying, I had some other people telling me, hey, don't be shocked. This is a very good test for for Joe Joyce. But I haven't seen much of Zhang, to give my opinion. But it's a fight that I'm definitely, looking forward to. But I just got Joe Joyce, by like a mid to late round stoppage. So
I think Joe Joyce is definitely going to be the favorite in that fight because he just keeps coming forward, man. It's like nothing stops him. But if Zhang won, would I be surprised? Honestly, no. Even shocked, I wouldn't, or either surprised or shocked, I wouldn't be. I'm actually kind of pulling for Zhang on this one, to be honest with you. But I know Joe Joyce is the favorite. He's the favorite for a reason. He's fought the better competition. He's had the better wins. But I wouldn't count Zhang out if he doesn't get caught cold. I would say I wouldn't count him out.
yeah, and I would say that Zhang could if he faded against Herkovich, I would say Herkovich is a lot younger. So he was in there with a younger guy, a guy in his prime. Joe Joyce, he's 30, 36, 37 years old. So he might not have a lot of miles, going in there with Zhang. But we seen Joe Joyce go in the later rounds with Joseph Parker and get a nice knockout win over him. So yeah, I'm just interested in I'm excited to see the fight, man. I can't wait to see how it's gonna play out for sure.
Yeah, man. No one's ever been able to stop Parker, and Parker's fought a lot of good guys.
Yep. Yep. Joe Joyce was the first one to stop him. He did it. He did it in a devastating fashion. Yep.
Yeah, man. And then Zach, not Zach. I said Zach Parker. I was gonna say. I mean, Joseph Parker. I think he's already had a comeback fight already. I'm not sure if it's
Yeah.
scheduled or if he's already had one.
Yeah. I think he had one, and I think he won. Yeah. Yeah. He had one, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Yeah, so like we've been doing this live for almost an hour, so I just want to just chop up a few more things. It seemed like De La Hoya is on a mission. It was rumors that Terrence Crawford could be possibly signing with him, but I feel funny about that, because Terrence Crawford just had a fight on Black Prime Network. So is he like going to continue with Black Prime Network, or do you think he's going to like try to do a deal with Oscar De La Hoya and possibly maybe fight like a Virgil Ortiz or a Rocha down the line?
I think he's gonna probably try to get a fight by fight thing. So if he can't, because I don't think he's gonna deprive himself of an opportunity with PBC if he signs. Because if he signs the Golden Boy, then he's definitely not going to be able to get the fights as easily with PBC, and then that would basically kind of scrap up the whole Errol Spence thing. So I think he's gonna probably have like a fight by fight deal with Golden Boy. Like maybe he'll fight what's his name, Alexis Rocha. They might feed him Alexis Rocha. Then and then he also probably doesn't want to lose the Black Prime paydays, so he gets offered another 10 million fight deal or whatever. He's gonna $10 million fight deal. He's gonna want to keep that as an option. So I'm assuming if he does fight on Golden Boy, it's just gonna be on a fight by fight basis.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah,
just so he can keep his options open.
yeah, that's understandable. So let me get in this comment. My guy Wilton Henry in the building. Who shout out to Wilton Henry, man? If you're not subscribed to the last ones at the bar, man, definitely subscribe to that channel. He says Zhang is going to get fatigued by the 5th, although he'll be very dangerous early. What up, though, fellas? Good stuff. Appreciate it, man. Salute to you, man. Again,
I
subscribe to
agree
the
with
last ones at the bar, man.
I agree with his statement 100%. I think he fatigues between 5 and 7, somewhere around there. But I think the first 1 to 5 rounds, the first 5 rounds, he could potentially win the fight. And I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be surprised if he won late. I would be definitely surprised.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure, man. Like I said, man, this is a fight that I'm very, very, very excited to see. So, but yeah, but far as Terrence Crawford, who in your professional opinion, who do you think he'll fight next? Obviously, I don't think him and Spence is ever going to happen. Of course, Spence has to get past. Spence has to fight Keith Thurman. In a few months. But who do you think right now is obviously the best option for Terrence Crawford? Virgil Ortiz and Stanionis is that's looking to happen at the end of April, and I still haven't really seen an official date, but it looks like it's at the end of April. But so, who do you think is really the best option for Terrence Crawford at this point?
I think if he does fight, he'll probably fight Alexis Rocha probably in a few months, maybe, and then he'll fight the winner of Stanionis and Ortiz before this year's up. I would say those are his best options. I don't see a Boots fight happening. I feel like I just for some reason I just feel like they wouldn't. I don't know. I don't know. Actually, I don't know if that. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know if I'm gonna. I don't know if that fight's gonna happen between Boots and Crawford. But I kind of just. I just think I kind of just don't put PBC in the mix because they always kind of they don't usually send their best guys across the street.
Right.
And then so I think Rocha and then the winner of Stanionis and Virgil Ortiz. Those two guys this year would be very good, actually.
Yeah, and it seems like a lot of people are saying Alexis Rocha could be next, but that's not a fight I want to see. It is a stay busy fight. I don't want to see it, but that seems like that's what a lot of people are saying. But I think that's easy. That's easy work for Crawford.
I know it's gonna. I mean, I said earlier it was good. I mean, I meant that it's good for Crawford to stay busy. I would say he'll have a stay busy fight and then a semi-challenging fight. I guess if Ortiz should win, I would say it would be decently challenging, and that's like a 60-40 fight. I would say 60% in Crawford's favor, 40% Virgil Ortiz. Would I be shocked if Virgil Ortiz won? No, not at all. But it's just that he has good boxing IQ. He's got good, but he tends to use he doesn't use a lot of movement, I would say, to avoid punches. And he takes he's a risk-taking fighter, so unless he gets his shots on Crawford first, he likely might not win that fight.
Yeah, and to follow up on that, I can see that happening. Terrence Crawford possibly fighting, Rocha, and then if Virgil Ortiz gets past Stanionis, then they would possibly build up a fight between Virgil Ortiz and Terrence Crawford later on like at the end of the year. So I can definitely see Terrence Crawford having 2 more fights this year, but hopefully if everything goes smooth with De La Hoya. So we'll see how that plays out. Yeah,
So
let me get into these comments. So go ahead, bro.
No, I was gonna just say I was gonna say I don't even remember what I was gonna say.
All right, let me get these comments. So what Henry said, Bud is trying to get that Rocha and Blair the Flair smoke. We were talking about Blair the Flair, off camera, man.
Oh yeah, dude. Actually, if that happens, I'll be so excited for that press conference, dude.
Yeah. But I will say that Blair beat Maurice Hooker, and Terrence Crawford and Maurice Hooker good friends. So I can see Terrence Crawford avenging that loss for Hooker for sure. So
yeah, that would be that those two will be okay fights while they'll last. I think Crawford easily, well, not much easy, but convincingly, kind of. Okay, fine. Let me rephrase that. He beats both of them probably mid to late stoppage.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, I agree. I can see, Crawford stopping Blair Cobbs, and I can see him stopping Roach. We seen Blair Cobbs get stopped. The crazy stoppage that he had. So let me get into this next comment. So Watson says, or Rocha, and then go across the pond and get that UK GB money against Josh Taylor. What you think about that?
Would that be at 147 or would that be at 140? Because I don't think Rocha can make 140.
I'm not sure.
If that's at 147, then I think Rocha has an okay shot. I think he has a better chance at beating Josh Taylor than he does Crawford.
Man. Yeah, so man, I'm looking forward to see what Crawford's next move is. He's getting older. He still got it for sure. He still got it, but I don't think that he has the movement like the younger Terence Crawford. But he's still gaming. He's still a good opponent. So I'm definitely looking forward to see what's going to happen with him. And Golden Boy. If they do work something out. Also I heard De La Hoya is signed Edgar Berlanga. Is that true?
That is true. Yeah, he got Edgar Berlanga got signed to Golden Boy.
Okay.
It seemed like he wasn't. Berlanga explained it is he left Top Rank because they weren't giving him the fights that he wanted. But it's like he looked bad his last 4 fights, so it's like or three or four fights, and
And,
so it's like
so
the
they,
Denmark said he looked decent, but the rest he looked bad and arguably lost all 3 fights, last 3 fights.
yeah. So in other words, Edgar Berlanga is just basically trying to say he's trying to get killed. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
dude.
Yeah.
He wants to fight John Ryder, dude, but John Ryder stops him so easily. It's not even funny, dude.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
even trying. I sound like a hater or whatever, but like, dude, it's like John Ryder is probably is levels above Edgar Berlanga. Unless Edgar Berlanga somehow manages to learn how to box better. There's at this point from based on his last performance, Edgar Berlanga. John Ryder actually I think stops him mid to late.
Yeah. Yeah. And I agree. Yeah, he's saying he left Top Rank because he wants the big names. But as you were saying, man, he's every good fight that he's been having lately. He doesn't look good, and he was suspended for biting his opponent. So
He pulled a Mike Tyson, dude.
right. So yeah, I think he's just right now he's trying to bite off more than he can chew. Like of course, shout out to G5. G5 said he's not heavy. He's not heavy on Edgar Berlanga right now.
No, I'm not, dude. What was he fought? Romer, Alexis, Angulo, bro. Dude, some people thought Angulo won that fight, dude.
Mm-hmm.
But credit to Angulo though. Angulo actually beat Anthony Sims Jr. He also beat he also gave he hurt Gilberto Ramirez a couple times in their fight, and they went all 12. The only person to stop him was David Benavidez.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so yeah, but far as Edgar Berlanga, man, I think he's just biting off more than he can chew. And like we're gonna be
Literally,
seeing some losses come to his record.
I would say
Yeah,
if he steps up in competition, he loses.
yeah, I agree because he's definitely got a lot to work on. So, and couple more things we get into, man. Let's get into this. Triple G and Laura. It sounds like it's been ordered that Triple G and Laura to fight. So my thoughts on that. If that fight does go forward, I believe these are the kind of fights Triple G needs at this stage in his career. Triple G, he is older. I knew he was going to lose the trilogy, against Canelo, but he took that fight. It's obviously it's a big bag, and he so. But far as this fight, I believe that Triple G should win. Oh shoot, my guy Chris G got disconnected. So let's see if I get my guy back in here. Yeah, but as I was saying, everybody, man, it's been ordered that Triple G and Law is supposedly going to be fighting, and at this stage, in Triple G's career, I feel like Law is a good opponent for him because Law, like to be honest, Law is a born fighter. You know what I mean? He's a born fighter. He's been in a war with Jared Hurd. That was a good fight. He stopped Canelo's brother, and he also had a first round knockout over Thomas Cornflake Lamana. So Law, he's had some decent fights, but for the most part, man, I just feel that Law is a born fighter. So now in this fight, I would definitely have Triple G, probably like a late stoppage because he did even before the Canelo trilogy, he had a stoppage. He had a stoppage with a fighter in Japan. I forget what his name is. Let me see if I get Chris G back in here before I close this out. Yeah, if Chris G, he said his phone died. Oh, you good, bro? You good, bro? I'm gonna just go ahead and chop up one last topic before I close this out. So AJ, I'm gonna give my thoughts on Anthony Joshua and Jermaine Franklin. Jermaine Franklin. He's taking another big step up. Coming off the the Dylan White fight. Uh, yeah, Chris. Hey, there's the link. The link is in the chat. I'm gonna drop the link in here again. See if my guy can get back in here. But yeah, as far as Anthony Joshua and Jermaine Franklin, hats off to Jermaine Franklin, taking on two good fighters back to back. He lost to Dylan White, but right after the White fight, he's right back in there with Anthony Joshua, who's one of the top heavyweights. And from what I'm seeing, that Anthony Joshua, he's hiring Derek James as his trainer. So if that's true, and Derek James is going to be his trainer for this fight, I'm definitely going for Anthony Joshua, to possibly, get a nice stoppage. Let me get my guy back up in here. Yeah, you back?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, bro.
Oh, okay. All right, cool,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. So let's get back into this Laura and Triple G fight. I think it's a good fight, for Triple G at this stage in his career. He's an older fighter, and I just feel that these are the kind of options he needs right now. And I was saying that I think Laura is a born fighter, but he was in a war with Jared Hurd, and also he stopped Canelo's brother, and he stopped Thomas Cornflake Lamana in the first round. But for the most part, I just feel that Laura's a born fighter. But I do think this will be a good fight for Triple G.
Is has Laura fought since that stoppage against Lamana?
I don't even know, to be honest with you. I don't think so, bro. I'll have to look that up.
He's
But
like
yeah,
super inactive.
yeah, he's definitely been inactive, man. Laura's been on the shelf. But what you think about the fight though?
I think it's okay. It's a decent fight. It's against guys at the twilight of their career, so I think it's a good payday for both of them. And probably whoever loses this fight is probably their last fight.
Yeah, because both guys are older. So, but I believe Triple G should get he should definitely get like a stoppage. But yeah, I'm just looked it up, and he fought Spike
Get
O'Sullivan.
Sullivan, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I forgot. I did see that, dude. I can't. I forgot about it. uh,
yes.
I'm
So
using I'm
yeah,
using my PC right now, by the way.
okay, that's cool. That's
So,
cool.
so does it sound better or does it sound the same?
Oh, you sound the same.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So we'll see how that fight plays out. I believe it's going to go to a purse bid. If they can't work out a deal, it's going to go to a purse bid. But yeah, but as far as the fight, yeah, I'm gonna go for I'm gonna go for Triple G, but like I said, Lawrence, he's been in a lot of boring fights, but a lot of his past fights, he's he's been having knockouts. So I'm looking forward to see how that's gonna go.
Me too. I'm definitely tuning in that fight when it does happen.
Cool. Cool. Yeah, and like for the last topic before we close this out, I wanted to get in, Anthony Joshua versus, Jermaine Franklin. So my thoughts on this fight, um, hats off to Jermaine Franklin, for taking two good fighters back to back, Dylan White and Anthony Joshua. He did good against Dylan White, but I believe he had stamina issues in the later rounds, and as far as this fight with Anthony Joshua, I was reading that Anthony Joshua just hired that Derek James, and he's going to be flying to Texas to train with Derek James. So if that's true, I'm definitely going to go for Anthony Joshua, probably by a late stoppage in this fight, because Derek James, he's trainer of the year. All Derek James fighters been having some nice knockouts in the past year. We've seen Charlo stop Castano. We've seen Spence stop Ugas. We've seen Frank Martin stop Jax Marinas, and he just had the victory over Michelle Rivera. So if he's going to be rolling with Derek James, man, I'm definitely going to go for Anthony Joshua, possibly by a stoppage. But I'm just concerned about his gas tank still.
I think Joshua should win this fight, probably like eighth round, seventh, eighth round. That's kind of what I'm looking at. Um, if it's like the Joshua that fought Pulev, that's what I think. But if it's old Joshua, this fight doesn't go 4 or 5 rounds.
Yeah. So I think Derek James can definitely do like some strength and conditioning with Anthony Joshua. He may have a strength and conditioning coach, but I think Anthony Joshua needs to definitely work on his gas tank. But yeah, I'm looking. Do you think this is a good fight for Anthony Joshua? Coming off 2 losses though, or do you think this is a step down?
I think it's a good fight. I think it's a very respectable fight. For coming off of 2 losses, he could have. I would say, sorry. I would say he could have taken maybe even a little easier fight than this, but he's still fighting top 15, I think, somewhere on there. So that's I think that's very respectable. If he stops him, then it's gonna kind of like show up on Dillian White, in my opinion.
Yeah. So both guys are coming off a loss, but so it's a good fight. At one point people were saying it was going to be Chris Arreola, but I just felt that Arreola was washed up. He's past it. Arreola fought Vitaly way back in like 2009. So Areola's been in the game for a long
you,
time.
you
So
you
I didn't
know,
want to see that.
actually, I think Chris Arreola has fought better lately. To be honest with
Mm,
you,
yeah,
Even
yeah,
though he's at the end of his career, I've thought he's actually looked fairly decent. He looked decent against Kovnatsky, even though he didn't get the win, and then he looked really good against Ruiz.
facts,
And
facts.
so that I thought the fight was a little closer than what the judges had it,
Mm,
but Arreola visibly hurt Ruiz multiple times in that fight, and Arreola was never in trouble in that entire fight. And so I feel like he looked really good in that fight. He didn't just throw punches and start and like just like no defense and stuff. He was very very cautious. And
mm.
so I thought the his trainer Joe I don't want to butcher his name, Joe Goose
Yeah, Goose.
something. And yeah, I thought he did really good with Chris Arreola.
Yeah, and as far as Ruiz, is him and Wilder gonna happen? Because I haven't been hearing any news about them.
You know what? With the PBC, dude, that fight might happen in December, dude.
I hope not.
Dude, I hope not too. This fight should happen before the summer, in my opinion. It should happen at the very latest June. I don't think it should happen any later because both guys have been sitting on the shelf for a minute. So Wilder hasn't fought since October, but that only went 1 round. If 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 PBC really had their fighters active, he could have fought in January because he literally took no damage in that fight.
Yeah, and I just saw something about Wilder trying to do like a 2 fight deal with I don't even think the guy's I don't even think he's a boxer. I think he's like a UFC guy or something. I don't know if you read that or if you seen that.
Which UFC guy? Let's see.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not even sure.
Deontay Wilder
Yeah, it was something.
to
I just
fight.
read that and I was like, he's doing a 2 fight deal with this guy. I'm like,
Oh, Francis Ngannou.
yeah.
Oh,
So I mean, what's your thoughts on that? I mean, I just saw that. I saw that earlier today. I'm like, what's
they
Wilder? If
they
that's true,
they,
what is Wilder doing?
they offered it's for the money, but they offered him a two-fight deal, one being actually an MMA and one being in boxing.
Yeah, so it seemed like Wilder's kind of going off the grid a little bit.
I don't know. He hasn't. He's never learned how to kick and wrestle, so I don't. I think the MMA might be a mistake. But uh, what's his name? Nagano is just known as a striker, so it might be all right. He might fare as long as they don't do takedowns. I think Wilder actually might be okay in a MMA match. But I wouldn't risk it. I think they should try to just make it in just boxing for Wilder's sake. Um uh and
Yeah.
I think Nagano might be all right, but I think Wilder stops him.
Yeah, I mean, we seen this, you know, multiple times. We seen it. Clarissa Shields, you know, she went over to MMA and she won. She won her first fight and lost the second fight. We seen it, you know, with Ray Mercer. But Wilder, you know, Wilder at this point in his career, Wilder is what like just turned 37. I think Wilder just needs to, you know, focus on boxing and just go ahead and make that in-house fight with Andy Ruiz. But I was saying I haven't heard anything about it, and that just kind of shocked me when I heard that news today.
I hope that fight does happen because one, it'll build like it'll put another good name on Wilder's resume, and and my prediction for that fight is probably like fourth, fifth round stoppage win for Wilder.
Yeah, and
I before when Ruiz was at his peak, I thought that would have been a closer fight, but Ruiz has a hard time with the reach and stuff like that. So I think Wilder uh, gets him out of there early.
yeah, and to follow up on that, you know, both guys fought put Luis Ortiz down, you know,
Dude,
multiple times. So they share, you know, the same
Ruiz almost
opponent.
lost that fight.
Yep.
On the cards, he like if it wasn't for the second knockdown, he would have lost that fight.
Yeah. So even though everybody criticizes Ortiz for being a old man, you know,
he's he's a
uh,
57,000-year-old
uh,
ancient alien mummy,
uh,
dude.
uh, uh, so but yeah, he did. He was game in that fight. Aside from the aside from the
Yeah.
knockdowns, man, he was still game in that fight. But yeah, if like he's saying, if Ruiz maybe only got one knockdown, I would probably have went for for Luis Ortiz. But at this point, man, his chin just doesn't hold up.
What he did to what's the guy he fought before Luis Ortiz? He fought the guy who looked like he didn't know where he was. You know what
I'm
I'm
not
talking about?
sure. Nah.
Uh, what's his name? Oh my gosh, it's Joshua knocked him out. Adam Konatsky fought him. They call him the Prince or whatever, but I forgot his name. The one that says he's like a god amongst the earth. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second. I'll find it real quick.
Yeah, but far as Wilder and Andy Ruiz, do you think Andy Ruiz could hurt him?
Wilder.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah, if he closes in the gap, yeah.
because we seen
Charles
him.
Martin. Charles Martin. I didn't even have
Okay,
to look. I just remember that's the guy who was talking really big and bad, and saying he was a god on the earth or whatever. When he was about to fight Joshua, he ended up getting knocked out in the second round.
yeah,
And then he when Luis Ortiz knocked him out, he didn't even know where he was. He was like looking out
well,
in
yeah,
the distance.
yeah, man. He had Charles Martin looking at the ground like he saw a snake, man. Yeah, Charles Martin froze, man.
Oh
Yeah,
man. But I think Luis Ortiz still has some left in the tank, but you can tell he's not able to withstand as much punches as before.
yeah. So honestly, man, at this point, man, I honestly don't want to see Luis Ortiz back in there, man. He's been dropped by Water, in both fights. He's been dropped by, Andy Ruiz. He's been dropped by Charles Martin. So, at this point, man, like I said, man, his chin is just bad.
So I
So,
mean, like he's at least 5, 6, 7 years older than what he claims.
yeah. So,
So
yeah.
so I
But
so he's officially like 43 or 44,
man,
and he might actually be pushing 50 to be honest.
right, right. Yeah, but like, no shame in this game, man. He
No, not at
fought.
all, not at all. But it's just
Yeah,
like for his health. I think
yeah.
he probably he probably I don't know if hanging up the gloves is the right word, but I don't know if he should be taking any more punishing fights.
Facts. And, like I said, man, he had his shot against Wilder 2 times, but unfortunately he failed. But like I said, man, he was so close to getting Wilder out of there in the first fight. So
Yeah,
yeah,
he
man.
was. I
Yeah,
watched that live, man.
yeah. So yeah, man, we'll close this one out, man. Almost an hour and 30 minutes strong. So we basically covered all the topics that we wanted to cover. Appreciate Will Stokes for rocking with us. For the first 30 minutes of the show. Um,
Yeah, that was fun.
yeah. So appreciate him. Salute to everybody, that came in the comment section. Salute to Conrad. Salute to Conrad Botson. Salute to my cousin Will Sampson. Salute to Gabriel Ruiz. Salute to Wilton Henry. So yeah, man, we'll close this one out, man. This was a fun one, man. Chris G, man, give us your social media.
Instagram is the only one I really use. It's Chris_G495, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so yeah,
Yeah, that's what it is.
definitely, give Chris G a follow on IG, man. He's a very knowledgeable boxer guy, as you can see. And I mean, again, man, subscribe to Wilton Henry's channel. He's in the building. Subscribe to his channel. Last one's at the bar. Awesome podcast. So yeah, you guys,
He corrected me, or not corrected. Dude, I could not think of his name for the longest time.
I couldn't. Yeah, I had a brain freeze. Yeah, it was Charles Martin. Yeah, and I actually spoke about that fight, in some previous episodes. So yeah, I had a brain freeze there.
I
So
said
yeah,
everything about him but his name.
man. So and y'all know where I'm at, man. I'm on TikTok now, so I'm on TikTok as the Legend 3347. I'm on IG, the Legend 3347. I'm on Facebook as Todd Finney, and you guys just witnessed episode 16 of the In This Corner podcast, man. We out. We'll see y'all again soon. Peace.